is Malin and I love creative journaling and paper crafting, and I'm really happy you wanted to join me today as I'm doing a flip through of this very special journal. And the reason this journal is special, you can see in the background here, it's because in June I was in France at the PaperArtsy headquarters for the ArtsyCraft retreat with Alison Bomber from Words and Pictures. And this journal here is the one I started at this retreat. It's mostly filled with the bits and bobs that we did at the retreat, and then I continued to work in it during the rest of the summer as well. So I mixed in things from my at-home stash as well, but it's mostly filled with what we did at this retreat. And let me tell you, this retreat was absolutely amazing. The PaperArtsy headquarters is in the Dordogne area in France, which is a very beautiful area. They've been struggling a bit this summer due to the heat waves, but we were lucky because we were there just before the heat hit, and we had beautiful time. The retreat was an excellent mix of some excursions to explore the area, find inspiration, and then other days that were just packed with paper crafting with the excellent guidance of Alison. If you don't already follow Alison, I will link her channel below because she's amazing and she was even more brilliant in person. So we had a fantastic week, and the whole PaperArtsy family, they were super welcoming, taking excellent care of us. We got such nice food, good wines, great company. Everything was tip top on this retreat. And while I put a lot of stuff in this book, I still have stacks of papers and things we did. We did loads and loads of gel prints. We did rusting, so I have fabrics and papers with rusting powder. We also did like fake rusting looks with infusions and paints. I have a miniature paintings that we did. There's more of those in the book. Stamping, coloring, playing with the tints, some watercolor with salt, and loads of stamping, loads of the watercolor style stamping with the mix of stamping with infusions and other things. This technique is something I know Alison has on her channel. This thing with the tints, and especially the one where she makes the white flowers, is one of her more recent videos. So if you want to see more of these things, you should go watch Alison's videos. She some of the things we did, she shared with us at the retreat first, and then she's done videos afterwards, and other things are the things that she's been doing on her channel over the past year and so. But let's get into my journal. I have to admit, I did attempt to film making this cover. I did film, but as I was watching the photo, I realized it's just a very long video of me gluing things, and I realized there's no way I'm going to edit that into an interesting video. So I scrapped that footage. And yeah, when you're not used to filming videos, the talking and editing and all that is so much harder than it seems when you watch all these amazing creators. So maybe I'll stick to just doing flip throughs as I've done in the past. We'll see. I have some short footage of the final touches of one of the pages in this book. I haven't had time to look through that yet. Maybe that is something that I can make something of. We'll see. But for now, let's do the flip through and share what I've done here. So at the retreat, all the crafting supplies we needed were handed out to us by the PaperArtsy team. We didn't have to bring anything. They had a big box of books that we could choose from for our journal, and I picked this one because the name of it is Anne-Marie, which is the name of my mother. So I thought that'd be fun to have this particular book as my journal. Unfortunately, it's a glued spine, and I'm the kind of person who likes to tear out a lot of pages from my altered book journals. As you can see, it's chunky anyway. I don't mind that it's a bit chunky like this, but I don't like the full gator mouth style. So I do tear out a lot of pages, and because I did that, the book started to fall apart. I think I rescued it quite well with gluing things in, but it's good to know if you plan to do an altered book, you want to tear out a lot of pages, try to find the one with sewn in signatures rather than the glued in pages. My cover, I tried to be quite representative of things we did, things you will find inside the book as well, like these stamped grassy images, the gel print images, book pages, a little bit of the rusty fabric and the rusty tissue paper. The buttons are from my home stash, as is the key for the dangle. I like having a little dangle. The ribbons, I don't remember exactly where they were from, but I think I brought them home from France, so yeah. For my inside, I used scrapping papers. These are Tim Holtz papers. This one's also Tim Holtz. This is something else I don't remember. And just checking to make sure I'm in frame. I'm not going to talk about all the pages, but just want to say a few words about this first one, because we were very lucky. The retreat was the week before Alison's summer release with PaperArtsy, so we got to play with this hydrangea stencil, the hydrangea rose and new grassy stamps before they were actually released, so that was really fun. And also I should say, if you want to know more about what we did at the retreat, PaperArtsy have on their Instagram some reels that shows both when we were crafting and when we were out and about on the excursions. So that's really good if you want to learn more about what we did at the retreat. I'm not going to go through details on all the pages because that would take forever. You would recognize some of the things, kind of Alison's style, obviously, because she was guiding us through the processes. And then I've been adding some of my own things. I think this is Alison's grandmother. I'm not 100% sure. I think that's what she said. So this was like a picture that she provided prints of, and we could use for our journaling. And of course the stamping was one of the main things we did in this retreat, and I absolutely loved it. So this is stamping with infusions and with archival inks. Same here. This was intended to be just a background. I find it hard to cover it up. So I have a few pages like this that I left. I don't know, I might come back and finish them off, but for now I just left them. This page, also not really a finished page, but I do love the stamped fabric that I have here. I don't want to do too much to take the focus away from that, so I'm good with having a few pages that are just background as well. Here I was just playing with stencil with infusion, and then I decided to use my Tim Holtz leaf dies to finish off the page. I will have several pages with these stamped cards that I just put in as they are, just some inking around the edges. I do love them. I don't want to take away the focus. This is one of the favorite pages I've done in the book. This is an actual leaf that we covered with white paint, let it dry, and then used the infusions to pick up on the texture from the leaf. This is watercolor with salt and infusions, so I really loved how that turned out. And there's some tints in the background. We also got to play with stencils. These are not my favorite pages, but you know, if you've seen any of my previous flip throughs of art journals, you know I feel about not everything having to be perfect, because it's the process that is the main thing. As long as you have fun when you do things, the outcome is not that important. Some pages can turn out really pretty and others are not, and that's perfectly okay. We did a lot of gel printing with actual plants or grasses, yeah, and you will find soon that we also used some of those grasses in our journal. So I have the prints and actual grasses in here. This page I did when I got home, but the grasses one that I used for my gel printing when we were in France. And this, I hope you can see, but I'm fairly sure this is the exact stem that I used for this print. So this page is a little bit special. See, it's got some photos. It was one of the other participants that had brought her little mini printer and took some pictures from one of the walks we did one day and gave me copies. Unfortunately, something chemical happened when the two images have been touching each other, so it looks a bit funny, but still a nice page because this brings special memories. This is one of my favorite pages in the book. I was playing with the PaperArtsy crackle glaze. So these like really tiny delicate crackles, they are from the crackle glaze, and then I added some stamped crackles to get a bit extra. I had intended to add some poetry on this page, but I haven't found the right poem yet, so for now I leave it as it is, and I might come back and add something there. Another stamped fabric that I really enjoy, so I kept this background simple, but I did glue in some of the grasses that we used for the gel printing here again. Same here, more stamping. This stamping is done on a deli paper that I had available, and I loved working on that deli paper. I need to see if I can find something like that to buy, continue to use, because it was lovely, but especially for the gel printing, but also for stamping like this. And then more of these grassy stems that we used for the gel printing. And here you can see I had to put quite a lot of washi and fabric in the spine to keep the book together. I think it was the last morning on the retreat that we did these like abstract little grid paintings. I really liked how mine turned out, so I'm happy to have some of them here. The rusted tissue paper. You can smell a little bit of vinegar every time I open the book, but that's okay. The beautiful rose stamps that Alison released the week after our retreat, but we got to play with, and this was really good quality watercolor paper. Still, it's stamped beautiful. Yeah, so these pages I'm just going to flip through when it's things that they're similar to what I've already talked about. Yeah. This is the other little set of grid paintings that we did. They're also a bit abstract, of course, but they are like also landscape ones. And the background in this page is actually a cleanup tissue, or like a kitchen towel, the one layer from the kitchen towel. But I like how it turns out, and it is the PaperArtsy infusions that creates these lovely blooms. This is one of the pages I finished after I got home, so I used some of my favorite die cuts and paper doll. This is this stencil, also one of the new releases from Alison that we got to play with before it was released. So I used it here together with texture paste, and I used it on these cards as a flip print with the stencil, and of course the beautiful rose stamps. The spread is not finished. I had this, I do love the 2 gel prints on tissue paper. I had this idea that I wanted to add something like more organic shaped, because these are quite square. I haven't found anything that I think look good enough, so I might come back to this page. I might leave it as is. We'll see. When we played with the rust powder, we also used grasses and things like that to see if we could create a rusty pattern from the grasses. I was not very successful. You can see a hint of the grasses here, and I still think it's gorgeous paper regardless of what you see, so I just wanted to keep it in there. And here's the gel prints on the Stella paper. I did a lot of those. I love that, and I love doing the mini gel plate and do a series of 3 prints in a similar color scheme, like this. Here's more like collaging. I did the collage when I got home, the book page and the photo are things that were from the retreat. The other pieces are Tim Holtz ephemera from my stash at home. So this is probably also one of Alison's relatives. Some watercolor swatching. I got myself some new Dania Smith colors at the end of my summer vacation. I decided to do like a swatch page in here for those. More of these grassy stamping that should have been background, but I couldn't bring myself to cover up. A bit more bright collage than the rest of the book. More of the stamping, more of the gel printing. Here I added some stamping afterwards. And I have some napkins in the background. The spread, I attempted to do the gel printing directly in the book. It was quite successful. Like, it was good prints. Only problem was I hadn't used enough contrasting colors, so I decided to stamp on top, because otherwise you didn't really see anything. This is probably my most favorite page in the entire book. I love working with the texture paste through this square stencil, and the infusions. I had not used infusions. I hadn't used any pigment powders before the retreat. Absolutely fell in love with them, and yeah, I just love using them. And then I have some like transparency butterflies on top. More of my gel printing trios. And this is another favorite page. So in the kit that we got for the retreat, we got a set of 8 watercolors from this Turkish brand Semsi. These are handmade watercolors, very pigmented, really nice. There was additional colors. I think there was 24 in total. I decided to get 4 extra, so I now have a set of 12. And I like these little wrappers, and I just wanted a place for them in my journal. And then I used the hydrangea stencil and the brick stencil with these watercolors to create this page. Another page with texture paste and the infusions, and this is a stamp set. I forgot. The stamp is anonymous. I forgot the name of the artist. I'm sorry. But I like this page. This is the page that I did film. Not the whole process, but the playing with the infusions and stamping the sentiment of the pieces I filmed. So let's see if I manage to make a video out of that, because that was the end of this flip through. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you enjoyed seeing this video. I will also link Alison's video below, where she did like a update flip through, or like her book is not filled, but she did a flip through of what she's done so far. So I will link that below. You get to see more of the lovely things we did at the retreat. And yeah, thank you for watching. Bye.